Freddie's on one-on-one. Can Freddie turn his shoot? Can Freddie get a shot? Yes! Unbelievable! Apologies to the neighbours. Hello and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we have another win. Rotherham played, so obviously we won. So we had a look at from Plymouth Argyle yesterday, and as seems to be the case in February-March time, we've got another game on Tuesday to talk about. So we're going to cover all that. To start with, it's just me and Danny. Thanks for being here, Danny. Otherwise,
no worries. No worries. It was a little bit of a rush to get here on time because to say that I'm knackered after yesterday is a little bit of an understatement. But we're here. We're just double teaming it for the time being, but it'll be right, won't it, mate?
Exactly. Mick promises he will be joining us from a car park somewhere in Wales. So that's exciting for us all to find out which car park it's going to be and when it's going to be. Adds a bit of drama to proceedings tonight, I suppose. So let's just go through some stats before we talk about the game. Michael Smith scored yesterday, got his 58th goal for the club, which puts him level with Adam Lafondra, one away from being the club's top scorer in all competitions of the 21st century. We have won 7 out of the last 8 games, unbeaten in the last 10. This next stat is from Righty on Twitter, that we've only been behind this season for 179 minutes in total. Away from home, only 15 minutes. Yeah,
that's that one too.
I think I saw Paul Davis tweet out yesterday. It was Joe Mattock's 200th appearance for the Millers as well yesterday. It's just getting silly now, Danny. Every stat I look at is just tells me Rotherham United are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that stat about being only behind for 179 minutes, I read that out on the bus on the way home, and everyone looked at me and went, really? But how have we managed that? And it's just testament to how good this team is this season. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. The win against Plymouth was touch and go at times. There were at least 4 times where they could have scored and they bottled it. And Vickers, he's got hands safer than houses. But anyway, that's incredible. And I still can't wrap my head around how I've only conceded 5 goals away from home in 17 away matches. How have we managed that? Who's pushed a button and gone, yes, Rotherham United will be absolutely exceptional away from home this season? I mean, I know we've been good away from home for the past couple seasons because it was our away form last time in League One that sort of propped us up a little bit. Yeah. But this season, we've just been a different class. I mean, just wow. That's all you can say, innit? Just wow.
Yeah, it is. It's just brilliant. Let's go through some comments we've got with you. Scott Grundy's with us, YouTube user. Words aren't working tonight. That's good start. Bazza, Paul Brook, Steve Grundy, Philip Rowlinson says good evening to fellow top of the league. Good evening. Johnny Davis hopes Mick's get a parking ticket from the. It's normally a co-op car park for anybody that's interested that Mick goes to. We'll find out whenever he turns up. Let's go back to the sort of pre-game yesterday, Danny. We talked midweek last week about maybe we might rest Woody against Morecambe. He didn't, so that means he rested him against Plymouth. And other than Chio came in for 2-2 as well. Sensible changes and changes that make sense.
Yeah, I think he's resting Woody so he can score against Shrewsbury on Tuesday, to be fair. So. Yeah, but I think because of the weight of the fixtures we've got coming up, I mean, we've just done Saturday, then it's Tuesday, then it's Saturday, then it's Wednesday, then it's Saturday again. I think Woody does need a rest at some point, and I think in a game against Shrewsbury, which is Woody's forte, shall we say, it was right to rest him, but on the day, because of how much we sort of got caught out through Plymouth's long ball, and it wasn't like an over-the-top long ball, it just sort of went around the defenders, weirdly. That sort of caught us out, and you could tell we were missing a little bit of Woody's organisation there. But I think sensible decision to rest him, and through Plymouth's pressure, I think it was right to keep him on the bench as well and bring Angus on, because it was definitely a bit more left-sided towards the end of the game. So bring Angus on in a bit of a calmer, more experienced head in replace of Mattock, who was probably gasping by the end of it as well. Right decision, I think. But Woody, I think he needs to score now against Shrewsbury. Get his head on it. Like 80th odd minute, do me easy.
Yeah. And it also makes sense because he missed that game, he can now play against Shrewsbury. He can almost certainly play against McDonald's, and then it's Papa John's, which you want to play in anyway. So I think it's quite clever to miss that one rather than the other ones. And knowing Plymouth aren't exactly a direct team, again, it makes sense. Morecambe had Stockton and others, which were very physical, which Woody helped us with. Carl Briggs, let's talk about Josh Vickers before we talk about Smithy in more detail. Carl Briggs, Vickers making 13 saves in 2 games. We've talked about him a lot. We've talked about last few weeks, Danny, but he is just a fantastic goalkeeper. Some of them saves were brilliant.
Yeah, they were. Excuse me, my voice still hasn't recovered yet. But yeah, the last couple of games, Vickers has kept us in those games. I mean, made some really good saves against Morecambe and the same against Plymouth. And I think on 1 or 2 occasions, his positioning and his overall saves themselves kept the score in our favour, especially the one with, who were it now? I think it was Hardy. Like he was having a stinker of an afternoon in terms of missing chances. But that one chance where he broke down their left-hand side, and everyone in the stands like 1-1 has to be, and then Vickers gets his hand to it, and it's like, honestly, I kid you not, I had to sit with my head between my knees because I could not fathom how we were still 1-0 ahead. Yeah. And at the end of the game, it's like, how have we won? Plymouth should have at least scored 2, but Vickers kept us in it. He really did.
Yeah, no, he did. It was brilliant. Bit of luck, but the saying goes, expect to be lucky than good, and we're both. Yeah, so that helps. Alex Wesley mentions that basically that's how Fleetwood caught us out around the side when they beat us 4-2 at New York Stadium earlier in the season. That's a good point. That playing that way does cause us probably, if you can move our defenders out of their centre positions, it does cause us real problems. But we'll see about that. How that would affect us in future games. Harry Astro, 3 words. Vickers is amazeballs. Yeah, I like it. Donald's with us. Hello, Donald. Thank you for joining us. Race medley. Evening, lads. Another smash and grab up the Millers. Yeah. But it's good to win these games, and that sounds a really stupid thing because every game's good to win. But we under the cosh might not be right, but at times we struggled. We struggled to get hold of the ball. Plymouth are clearly a very decent team, but we ground it out. We stuck in there one way or another. We did it, and you look back on these games at the end of the season and think, well, that's why we're up.
Yeah, Plymouth definitely put the squeeze on us for sure, because in the first half we sort of took the game to them a little bit to begin with. I think I'll comment on Fregdy a little bit later on, but. We put the pressure on straight away, and if he scores his first shot at goal, different game, I think. But yeah, Plymouth put the squeeze on us, and again, they were very unlucky, or lucky in our regard, not to score. Because I mean, 14,000 of their fans thought they were 1-0 up when that ball hit the post, and I think all our fans thought they were 1-0 down. It's like, again, how have they missed? But yeah, like you say, that was our luck shining through. And then they just kept the squeeze on us, and then. In the second half, they tried to do the same. And like you say, we ground it out. We got the goal and we saw it out, which is something that promotion winning side do. But what I will say is if we come up against a team who play that way in the Championship, we will get caught out. Yeah. Because in the Championship, it's a lot better finishing wise and taking the chances. So I think we get caught out there in the Championship. But we're in League One. And yeah, I think the green was our lucky colour. To be honest, as well as that red shirt away, because I don't think we've lost in that shirt yet. Fingers crossed, touch wood, all that jazz.
I think I actually tweeted that we haven't conceded in that kit away. I think I saw.
We're not conceded either.
5, so
can we just wear red away all the time then?
Yeah, exactly. We have Mick joining us from a car park in Wales. Are you there, Michael?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Yeah, sorry about this.
Not a problem. Just for anybody that's interested, which car park are you in?
Still Co-op, Benslook.
Okay.
If you're interested.
Cool. Yeah, someone's going to go knock on his window going, oh, mate.
Hey, we'll do it like Anthony Necker. If anybody's in the area, go find him. Won't win a prize. But,
yeah, absolutely. You'll get a prize.
Yeah, we can put people on the podcast. There you go. There's your prize. YouTube user Rubber the Green for a change. Yeah, we've certainly got that bounce off the post yesterday, Danny. It reminded me of the Morecambe game in the second half where it bounced back straight into Vickers' hands. It was very similar luck in that sense, which is, well, like I said, finally good to have luck on our side.
Yep.
Let's talk about the goal. Josh Smith, class play from Wilder for the goal, which a lot of fans haven't mentioned. That's why he stays on the pitch every week, because he can change the game in a second. Was unreal again yesterday. Yeah, mate. I mean, we'll talk about Michael Smith in a minute because he's scoring loads of goals, but the goal was made by Ben Wiles, wasn't it? It was such a great run.
Yeah, it was, absolutely. And we know what Ben Wiles can do, don't we? You know, we've said it for, well, as long as we've been doing this podcast, we've been massive fans of Ben Wiles. And yesterday is just another example as to why we are. You know, it's a great run and a fantastic vision to pick out Smithy as well. That sort of reverse pass, it were, outstanding. Can't say enough good things about Ben Wiles. I know he's had a drop-off in form, but, you know, he's back up there now, isn't he? Back up and singing when it really matters. Yeah.
And it weren't really a day where the midfield shone, Danny. I know Barlas to come off for a Dauphin. I'll talk about a Dauphin in a minute. But Wiles, it was the shining light of our midfield three yesterday, weren't it? Well, I thought it was, wasn't it?
I think it was a shining light in creating the goal and his own personal performance. But in terms of the usual job that he does, I think Plymouth actually stopped him doing that. But he sort of had to adjust the way he played, which still made him a shining light. I think in terms of the one who ran the midfield was probably Ollie Rathbun. But again, not through his usual means, through the means of just going after their players and putting in hard challenges and just keeping Plymouth a bit more spread out, because that's what Plymouth did. They stopped us playing the channels and they forced the wingers inside, which then disrupted the midfield. So they sort of had to adjust. And it wasn't until the second half that we found that little adjustment, which got us the goal. And then Plymouth just tried to throw the kitchen sink at us after that, because they wanted at least a point from it. But in the first half, I think Plymouth really kept our midfield quiet. They disrupted it really well. And it wasn't until the second half where they went, right, we're not going to play our usual way, just try and just create something through the middle instead of playing the channels. And I think that's why Barlas had to go off, because we weren't getting that outlet to the channels. But yeah, I think it was individual quality and not tactics quality that shone through. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Michael Smith, as we mentioned, it was a lovely finish maker. Probably, we've talked about this a lot. It's probably one Smithy would have missed 2 years ago, because it wasn't an easy finish, but it was a very good finish. As you mentioned, it's 58th goal for the club in all competitions, 22nd of the season in the league. It's just great, Mick. I mean, he maybe didn't have the impact he may have wanted in the rest of the game. He didn't play badly, but he maybe didn't have the impact. But he's just popping up with goals, and he's just he is invaluable to our team.
Yeah, he is. He is, because he's scoring the goals and because of his hold-up play and everything else that he does. You know, I don't know how many times he's won us a game this season, but you know, yesterday was exactly that the same situation, wasn't it? You know what I mean? He's a hell of a player. And it's a hell of a story as well. You know, once his time at Rotherham United is done, it would be great to be able to sit down with him and just sort of listen to his story, of where he's come from and to where he's got now and how he's done it, because it's just, the transformation is just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And if Paul Warne and his team are ever going to be remembered for just one thing, then I think the development of Michael Smith is probably right up there. Obviously, getting promoted as champions with over 100 points might be another, but that's you know.
I think that's one for Sam Todd's list. Get Smithy on.
Absolutely, mate, because it's a fairy tale story, really. You know, from a footballing point of view, to be sort of completely just lost. You know, down and out, sitting on bench at a bottom of a league club and not even getting a sniff, to now being, you know, an absolute prized asset, and it's going to be sought after when his contract's up.
No, he is. Yeah. We anything you want to add to him? We've said so much stuff about Michael Smith. I absolutely love everything about him. Anything you want to add? Because I just love him.
One thing I want to add is that if he scores a goal that either wins us promotion or wins us the league, I want him in the away end with us. I want him to jump into the away end with all the fans because he would get absolutely. It'd be like what happened to Ronnie Moore in the game against Plymouth, funny enough, that won us the 1980-81 league trophy, league title. Can't get the words out, I was still knackered. But yeah, Ronnie Moore ended up losing his shirt and his sock, weirdly, in that game.
Just one?
So, yeah, just one sock. You see him walking, it was on that the big game thing that they used to do. And you see him walking back to the dressing room, there's no shirt and there's one sock. It's like, well, how's that happen then? But yeah, if Smith seals either promotion or the title, whichever's the better goal, to be fair, I want him in the away end with us celebrating. That'll be absolutely unreal. He might get fined for it, but
well, that's acceptable. If anybody's listening knows what happened to Ronnie Moore's sock, I would love to know. If somebody's just ended up with just one footballer's sock, that would be a great story. If anybody has it or anybody knows what happened to it, let us know.
I reckon someone's got it framed on the wall.
Yeah.
There's just one lone, really stretched out sock, and then a picture of Ronnie Moore on it.
Yeah. Sock.
That shirt that's about 7 sizes too big for him now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if Michael Smith has
you should mention this, Matt.
Go on.
It's funny you should mention it. I've got a sock in my drawer that I have no idea where it came from.
Is it red?
Maybe that's it.
Could be. We could have tracked it down already. If Michael Smith has an Alan League type moment or a Frecklington type moment, he's not far off getting his own statue, I think, to be fair. Let's hope. I don't think it'll be as dramatic as Frecklington or Alan League, because I think if it goes down to the last day of the season, I think we've had a bit of a collapse. But still it'll be amazing. Nicholas Skidmore, he's definitely getting that shirt. He wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does. And he's not far off now. I think Paul Davis saying he needs to get a goal every other game or something like that to get a target.
Roughly, I think he's getting I think he needs to average a goal every 1.9 games or something. So if he manages a goal every other game, he should just hit 25. And if he gets it, after the last game of the season, Rich Mark has to come out and present it to him.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the one we want to see. Nobody wants to see trophy lift. We want to see Richie Barker hand over the shirt. Sam Tucks, Freddie deserves some credit as well. We were all quick to knock him with his transfer request. He's been a good professional, played well. All well done to Warney for showing faith. And that's where there's two parts to this for me, Mick. There is the Freddie part and the Paul Warne part. Let's start with the Paul Warne part. I think Paul Warne has done as good a job as anybody could have expected him to do with a player who put in a transfer request. I think taking him out of the situation straight away was the right decision for the player as well as the club. And I think trying to gradually bring him back in was the right idea. It didn't work. It didn't work in the Cheltenham game, for example. And then he's brought him back in on Sheffield Wednesday, and it's worked a treat. Now, this all might be luck. I might be giving Warney credit that he might not deserve, but I don't believe that. For me, Warney's played an absolute blinder with how he's managed Freddie.
Yeah, absolutely, he has, without a doubt. And then Freddie's got his part to play as well in this, hasn't he? And we discussed this at the time when he put in the transfer request. None of us really know the background to that, why it happened and why he wanted to leave and everything else. But yeah, you're right. Warney has done the right thing. You know, he has kept him out of the limelight for a while, and then he's brought him back in, and he's come back in firing on all cylinders. Whether that's to try and manipulate a move come the summer, whatever that is, he's showing the ability we all know he's got. You know, I don't think anybody, certainly not on this podcast, at any stage have we ever really questioned his ability. It's always been the work rate, hasn't it? And the kind of the psychological side of it more than anything else, and how he approaches the game. And I guess from a manager's point of view, if you've got Paul Warne managing you, you know, the psychological side is going to be just as important to him. And he clearly knows how to deal with that, and it's worked wonders so far with Freddie. Hopefully now he will kick on till the end of the season and continue playing the way he has with the same sort of intensity. You just worry, don't you? I know you just worry that it is going to drop off, that intensity, because it always has done, or it always has done in the past. But maybe things have changed, you know. Maybe he has seen the light and thinking, and he realises that there's probably not many better places to play football at the moment, and not many better regimes to play it under.
Yeah. Philip Rawlinson with a very brilliant question. Can you imagine how Steve Evans would have handled the Ladapo situation? I can imagine. I can definitely imagine that. I spoke to Radio Sheffield before game, Danny, and they asked me about what I think about Freddie, blah, blah, blah. And I said that if he gets us promoted, we can all leave happy. If he wants to leave in summer, we can shake hands, job well done, and let's all move on in the best interest of everybody else. And this is what was frustrating about transfer request. But what is really pleasing to see now is that's what he seems to be doing. Getting on, get promoted, and then off we go.
Yeah, I think he's shown that he is committed to this side and winning his promotion. Whether or not that helps him get a move away in the summer, we'll have to wait and see. But like you say, with how Warren's handled it, Freddie had that period of effectively being on the naughty step. Whether or not that's actually the case, or whether it was some time that Freddie needed to recompose himself, I don't know. But I think the way he's come into the side and effectively hit the ground running again, it's shown that his head's in the right place to put a shift in and try and help us out wherever he can. But I think in the Plymouth game, he probably tried a little bit too hard to score at times. You could tell he really, really wanted to score, but sometimes he couldn't sort his feet out, or he just angles his foot wrong or doesn't get enough power on it. But he really wanted to score. And like I said before, Mick found the car park in Wales. If he scores the goal, which was effectively the first chance of the game, it's a completely different game again. But that one chance he had at the end of the game where I don't know, I think he toe pokes it or something, and it's like, oh, if you score that, that's the game done, and that's my blood pressure a lot lower than it should have been. But anyway,
Tip top. Freddie's put himself back on the market, playing well. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm happy with it. If he gets us up, they're all free to leave for the right money, right situation. I'm sure most people would see that. Will Roebuck says he bumped into Smithy in the hotel and said it took them 7 hours to get down there because the coach broke down.
Really?
Thankfully, that didn't affect the performance. So that's the strikers ticked off. Let's talk about the midfield three. Midfield change. Let's heap more prayers on Paul Warne. The change in midfield, which was Dan Barlaser came off. Hakeem Adofin came on with about half an hour left, maybe a bit less than that. And it was the right move, Danny. And it was really good. We've been calling for Adofin for ages, but we can't get it squad. That's the Adofin I think we've got. And I thought it wasn't amazing and all singing or dancing, but he did really, really well at what he was asked to do.
Yeah, like I say, I think we brought Barlaser off because Plymouth didn't let us play the channels as well as we have been doing for this season. And they forced the wingers to go inside rather than outside. So that's why Barlaser's distribution wasn't quite as good, because the wingers weren't pushing the white lines. And I think as well his set pieces were a little bit off. I think it was a little bit of an off day set piece wise. He tended to do daisy cutter free kicks and corners that weren't really beating the first man. But I think to take him off and bring Adofin on it added a little bit of a more of a defensive buffer in front of the back three, because Adofin is more of a CDM than Barlaser is, because like Warney says, Barlaser's our quarterback. So it's like he plays in a CDM position, but he's not a CDM, he's a distributor. Whereas Adofin is your part and parcel CDM, and he can even double up as a centre-back at times when you need him to. It definitely showed that his distribution isn't on par with Barlaser's, because there was one ball that he sent out to Ossie Tutu on the wing, and it was like, if that's Barlaser, he makes that pass, but he's just overcooked it a little bit. But no, I thought one of them with Adofin, it was like he wasn't exactly exceptional, but he was just steady. He did his job, but didn't do anything exceptional. However, if he wraps his foot round that ball a little bit better, that is one of the goals of the season. He just needs to kill it a little bit more, but. Yeah, again, another chance to put the game to bed. Not quite, but got the rub of the green, like that comment said earlier.
Yeah, the thing is with Adofin, Mick, is, and this is a lot of difference with Danny, as I says, they are very, very, very different players. But when you have Adofin in that position, it gives you that presence There might not be much height difference, to be honest with you. There might not be strength difference, but he just has that aura about him that I'm in charge here. Whereas Barlas is more get the ball down, move it forward, and things like that. And that's why I thought it was a really clever change, because it just gives an extra little bit of presence in that midfield three.
Yeah, without doubt. He is. I don't know. It's difficult to put your finger on it, isn't it? They are very different players, as you say, but he has got that presence, and you said it right there. That Dan Barlasser doesn't necessarily have. He's just a big lad, and he's quick. And you know what? If he gets a regular running squad, if he were to play for 2 seasons permanently, he would get goal of the season both seasons, no question about it. Because you know that he's going to bag an absolute screamer at some stage. You just know he is. So he's a little bit of a. I don't know. I'm looking back to Shemi Ajayi and thinking, he's got a lot of Ajayi's qualities. In the sense that he's big and strong in tackle and everything else, but he can also play those sort of that delicate touch as well. I don't know. I like him. I like him a lot, and I feel a little bit sorry for him not getting in the squad. But we've got the best midfield in this division, haven't we? There's no question about that. And anybody that questions it is wrong.
You'll go on to that.
I thought I'd just tee you up for it, Matt.
Well, we'll definitely come on to that in a minute.
Mick, you teased.
Jan Bibi, concerns me a little bit that our change from Barcelona to 1-0 to the Arsenal coincides with Barlas's drop in form, inability to get him into the space. Yeah, I think Barlas is very, very important to the way he play. I wouldn't necessarily say drop in form to Barlas. I would say its teams have clocked on a little bit, Danny, that if you cut the supply from Barlas, you cut the supply to Ogbene, to Smith, to everybody else. So the teams, instead of just sort of trying to stop Ogbene, just try to cut off at source and got a bit wiser to it, maybe.
Yeah, possibly, and that might be why Warney's teased a little bit of a change for Shrewsbury on Tuesday, because, like we've said, Barlasser, Barlasser did say it right. I'm just trying to remember my words. He's the distributor, but we also have means of knocking the ball around in midfield and getting out to the channels more through more passing and less through one pass. I think if we were to have Lindsay in, maybe, or even a Dauphin still in the holding midfield position, we could still find a way through like we did with Wiles going forward to Smith. But it will just take more passing, and we need the more close range passes to be in it to get it through that way. But maybe teams are catching on to it a little bit. I think that might be why Warren is going to shuffle the pack a little bit, because I think now it probably needs it. We need to say to teams, look, you might think we play this way, but we can also play this way, and then it's another upset of the apple cart. Yeah,
and you don't even have to drop Barlas to do that. You could play Barlas slightly further forward if you wanted to. It could still very much do that role. Quick word on Aussie 2-2, Danny. I thought when he came on, again, he was a bit like Dauphin. It wasn't amazing, but that was, of the 3 games he's played, that was his best performance. It looked like there really was something there for me with that period he was on.
Yeah, I think he's done well to play out of position as well, because he's a right-sided player. And I don't know if the vlog caught it or not, but someone says, which foot does he actually use? We've signed him as a right-sided player, but now he's playing on the left, and he's still really good. And there's that one chance where he completely terrorises their right back and cuts inside, and it's like, please score, damn it.
Yeah. And again, this seems to be a case of one playing a blind, of trying to gradually bring him in, giving him an hour, giving him 20 minutes. We've seen a gradual improvement in all 3 games so far, so hopefully that curve keeps improving, and we can see the best of him. Let's talk about where it leaves us now. Cheryl Stone thinks we'll be promoted by the Ipswich game, which I think is Good Friday. That's second. That'll be the 15th. Good Friday the 15th, which is only 4 games from the end. It might be sooner than that. We sit 9 points clear of MK Dons, and now 9 points clear of Wigan. Although Wigan still have 2 games in hand, we have 1 game in hand to MK Dons. We play MK Dons on Saturday. If we can win on Tuesday, Mick, that puts us 12 points clear, having played the same amount of games, and then playing MK Dons on Saturday. And looking at the league table, it's between us, Wigan, and MK Dons. There's nobody else pushing their way into the top 3 picture. So, and I know mathematically this is not the case, but promotion could be essentially sealed by 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, no question. There's no question about that, mate. You know, because assuming we win at Shrewsbury, and that is an assumption, you don't know clearly. It's going to be a tough game, as they all are. It puts you 15 points clear of 3rd place. You know, if we beat McDonald's,
with 10 games left for them.
With 10 games left, I mean, it's just it's not mathematically safe. We're not mathematically safe, but you know, I'm putting champagne on ice, absolutely, 100%. If we get 6 points out of the next 2 games, for me, that is all bar done and dusted as a supporter. Hopefully, there's no hopefully about it. The players won't look at it that way. Warney won't allow them to do that. It's key. These next 2 they're all key, aren't they? You know. But despite everything that's been said about the last sort of 5 or 6 games, the game a week on Saturday, the game next Saturday is the biggest game of the season. No question about it. And I'll be surprised if after that there's a game that's as big for the rest of the season, a game as it's important. So, but can I just pop back to that comment you put up last time about us being prime Barcelona and now 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yes.
I think that goes back to the conversation that Ian Evatt had a few weeks ago that he banged out onto social media about, you know, this tiki-taka football. You cannot be a one-dimensional football team. You cannot just be a one-trick pony. And Paul Warner's shown that Rotherham United are anything but a one-trick pony. You know, we are capable of playing nice, clean, crisp passing football and playing teams off the park. But we've also got far more to our game than that. And at this stage of the season, for me, I don't think it's about a drop-off in form. I think what it's about now is digging out those wins. It's vitally, vitally important that we get as many points on the board, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. But, you know, it's just dig them out at all costs now. You know, it's about... the stage of the season is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just about having something else in your armoury. McDonald's, for example, seem to be a team that are a one-trick pony, you know, and it's served them well so far because they're 3rd in the league. However, you know, we all know what's going to happen with them when they come to our place. They're going to try and play it out from the back, and they're going to get found out. So you've got to have more in your armour, is all I'm saying. I don't think it is necessarily a drop-off in form. I think it's just changing the way we play to suit the stage of the season and what we need from it.
There is a parallel to draw from this in one of the famous Premier League wins, Leicester City, when they won the title. I'm not comparing us to that Leicester City team, but they were the funniest team to watch in the world for for 3/4 of that season. They were amazing. They were so fun. But when it got down to business, they started grinding those 1-0 wins out, those, you know, coming down from 1-1 to make it 2-2 late on. And that's what champions do. They have that ability to, when it gets serious, they start grinding results. So you look at Wigan on Saturday, it's getting serious now. They got spanked to Sunderland. So it's important to win a few different ways, and important to win when we were rubbish, but important to win when we weren't at its best, and maybe when the other team was slightly better than us. Danny, when I said we could have built up by Saturday, you winced a little bit. You're not in that camp yet.
I don't quite know what to think, to be honest. I mean, the only thing that I'm really thinking about now is how can I get myself a bit more awake, and I'm quite fancying a kebab, to be honest. But you know, to say we're up again if we beat MK Dons, yes, technically you can say that. I mean, the one thing that's really, really helping us out is our goal difference as well. We're 9 points in front, but it's sort of 10. I mean, it has to be counted at least a point if you've got a goal difference of 42, you know.
It is, you know.
But yeah, I mean, For me, it's not confirmed until it's confirmed. Like I've heard people say, "Oh, we need to win another 4 or maybe another 5 to be sure of promotion." But yeah, because it's not always down to you beat the teams that are around you. It sometimes comes down, like you say, grinding out the results. And yeah, Bolton might play really attractive football, and they might be fun to watch. But at the end of the day, they're not in the promotion places. The last time I checked, I think the 10th.
Weird, isn't it? They couldn't even lose on Saturday, could they?
No, exactly. And I mean, like I say, they lost to McDonald's, who were again another, well, it's kind of one-dimensional team. But the teams that do the best are the teams that don't always play to their own strengths; they play to the other team's weaknesses. Like what Leicester did. Leicester played really attractive football at the start of that season, as have we. We were scoring goals for fun at the start at about September, October time. But now, when it's time to get down to the serious business, we grind out the wins. We've won 7 of, is it 7 of the last 8 or 8 of the last 9?
8 of the last 9 now.
8 of the last 9.
Sorry. No, you're right. Sorry, 7 of the last 8. Apologies.
7 of the last 8, and they haven't been by big scorelines. We're not scoring goals for fun. It's been 1 or 2-0. And it just goes to show when this team needs to knuckle down and effectively go into the trenches, we can grind out results. We've learnt from the mistakes of Accrington and Fleetwood, where we did make mistakes and we conceded, and now we've gone, right, this is what we don't do. We need to dig our heels in and grind it out, and that's what we're doing. But going back to we're up if we beat MK Dons, yes, yeah, I can see that point. But when our fans are saying you've seen your champions now go home, it's a bit, don't jinx it yet. It's too early. We're in February still. Stop it.
Yeah, so we talked a few weeks ago about getting the 90. Paul Warnes even mentioned the 90 points as well. We're 5 wins away, 15 points, we'll get you to 90 points. And again, all the stats tell you, all history tells you, if you get 90 points, there's an incredibly high chance that you are going to get promoted. Like I said, we've talked in the past, there's only 2 teams in the history of EFL that have got 90 points and not gone up, and that's in all 3 divisions. So 90 points will get you there. So that is 5 wins away, in theory. Probably won't need that, but anyway. Yeah. Let us move on to something completely unrelated, but still Rotherham United related. There was a tweet that came out today from a Sheffield Wednesday reporter. Joe Cran was the journalist. I think it was the Star. I'm not sure. He said that on current form, there is not a better midfield 3 of Bannon, Luongo, and Byers. Sometimes I think I don't really understand football. When you see something and think, well, that's not what I sort of remember and what I've seen, Mick. We've got to caveat this, Mick, by saying that we don't watch Sheffield Wednesday week in, week out, much like he doesn't watch Rotherham week in, week out. But that seems a bit of a crazy claim.
Yeah, you could say that, and you'd be right. Danny, I know you're practicing and trying and sort of at uni looking at being a sports journalist. A bit of advice from me as a member of the public, if you're going to look at how not to do it, have a look at our Sheffield Wednesday reporters report on Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, you look at the report in the Star for the Sheffield Wednesday game against us. And that was just the most incredible piece of journalism I think I've ever seen. And I have seen some garbage written in newspapers, but that was just way head and shoulders above anything I've ever read. I know I accept that this is a different journalist that's put this one out there. It looks to me, in all seriousness, that he's just fishing for clicks, because it so clearly can't possibly be the case. Just even looking at the league table, if you've never seen us, Wigan, McDonald's, Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday and Sunderland this season, even if you've never seen any of those teams play, all you need to do is look at the league table to see that can't possibly be true. It's just nonsense. Look, individually, I'm sure they're very good players. We all know Barry Bannon is an excellent footballer. There's no question about that. However, well, that's as maybe. But he ain't top of the league. It ain't even close. You know what I mean? It's not as though they're even challenging. They're just about challenging for the playoff spots. So it's just nonsense. It's just clickbait, isn't it? You know what I mean? And hardly really worthy of much chat, to be honest. It's just nonsense.
I know, it's just good to gloat sometimes, though, isn't it? You know, when you get this opportunity to gloat, you just got to take
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Take the win.
100%.
Danny?
Absolutely.
I am going to make my comment, but I just need to write one more thing down. Just bear with me a second.
Donna London and Mick Grant. That's the only reason she's here.
Right, I'm ready now.
There weren't much of a rant.
But yeah, I'm just having a look on FootMob to get their midfielder breakdown. Of course, it covers every player, but this is what I found. So Barry Bannon is Chef Wednesday's top-rated midfielder with a rating of 7.66, which, bear in mind, the top rating on the list is 7.74. It's quite good. Yeah,
out of 10, isn't it?
Yeah, out of 10.
Yeah.
So 7.68, not bad.
Mm.
Barry Bannon is a very good midfielder. However, the joint top-rated player on FootMob is one Daniel Barlasser, 7.74.
What a surprise.
Chef Wednesday's midfielders don't break into the number 7 position again. However, Rathbone, 7.29, Wiles, 7.21. So technically, our midfield 3 is better than Sheffield Wednesday's. Thank you very much. I'll take my coat and I'll go on.
Yeah. You can't even say it's in form. We've won 7 out of the last 8 games with that midfield 3 playing. It's just nonsense, I'm afraid. But, you know, football's all about opinions, as the old saying goes. Yeah, I'm afraid that's a poorly thought out one.
Listen, when you're a Wednesday fan, you've got to cling on to something, haven't you? You know, they've got very little else to cling on to, so you know, leave it to them. Let them feel that they've got the best midfield in division. They might have best midfield in League One next season and all where they're going. So happy days,
Yeah. Did you see on a little point? Did you see their pitch on Saturday? Did you see pictures of their pitch? I can't believe how bad it is. I genuinely can't believe how bad it is. It's incredible. But Sheffield Wednesday in it.
Got the money, have they?
Yeah. Jan Bieber thinks Bannon is probably the best player in the league. Can't argue about that. Massimo Longo is a very good player, another championship player. They're only there because of the money. That's also a very valid point. Andrew Kelly, you had to look that up, Danny. We all knew Barlas was the top midfielder without even looking it up.
Well, yes, I knew that anyway, but I just had to reaffirm my point because someone had said, "Oh, show me the stats that prove that." Rip. Well, I just have. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
If I had a mic to drop, I would.
Exactly. So let's move forward. Let's go ahead to Tuesday night. It's the FA Cup 5th round. For anyone that's interested, none of us are because it's League One. Tuesday night we go away to Shrewsbury. This is the first time we're playing Shrewsbury this season. We're in March, and it'll be the first time we play them this season, which is incredible. Just in terms of our promotion rivals, Wigan are at home to Fleetwood. We picked up at Portsmouth on the weekend. MK Dons aren't playing. As we say, this is our game in hand to MK Dons. So it's a big opportunity to make it 12 points clear of MK Dons, which is a massive, massive gap. Shrewsbury don't come in amazing form, but they did win at the weekend. That was their first win in the last 9 games. So they are sort of bang average. Well, bang average is probably a bit kind at the minute. And I'll give you a ref watch before we go any further. Carl Brook is the referee for Tuesday. He's never refed us before. He is another up-and-coming referee. It's only his 2nd season in the EFL. And so far this season, those are the types of referees we like. So let's hope for similar, solid performances. We have a comment up here saying we can rest some players. I lost the comment. Danny, what changes would you be making on Tuesday? Paul Holmes hinted there could be a change or two to come in. Will you come back in? Other than that, what do you think? What do you reckon?
Maybe shuffle midfield a little bit, like we alluded to earlier. Then bringing Woody back in the middle. Maybe keeping Hardy on the right hand side, but I'd like to see Angus start. In all honesty, I think he's probably due a start, but it just depends on how he's doing, really. Warney has said that he could start a game, which I'd like to see. I'd potentially like to see Georgie Kelly make an appearance as well. But as we've seen with Ollie Tutu, we're not going to play him until Warney is sure he's ready. We could see him in the match day 18 and maybe come on later in the game if we want to save Smith or Freddie a little bit for the McDonald's game. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see. But main shuffle, I'd say, in midfield. Maybe take Barlasser out for a little bit and bring Lindsay in, or maybe even bring Wilesy out for Lindsay and try it that way on and try and play through the middle, get it into the final third and then push it wide rather than distributing from the middle of the park, pushing it wide and sending Chio and Ozzy on the backs down the wing. Just shuffle the pack just a little bit and give the Meraki a shake just to freshen it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, Mick, because I think I agree with Danny and I agree with a lot of people in comments saying that it's time for a change up a little bit. But it's a fine balancing act because if you change 5 players, for example, then you can upset everything. You can upset the players that are coming out. You can upset the form of people. Players coming might not play very well. It's a fine balance act that Warney's got to find a balance of.
Yeah, it is absolutely. And we've seen what happens when we make kind of wholesale changes in Pizza Trophy. The performances have not been great. They've been all right and they've been sufficient to get us through, but they've not been to the level that they have been in the league. So I can't see him making wholesale changes. I do wonder whether I know Freddie got a knock at the back end of the game on Saturday. I just wonder whether he may well rest Freddie on Tuesday, and I just wonder. I don't know. Are we going to see Georgie Kelly instead of Freddie? I don't know. I might have that in my fan hub. Because I don't know, we'll see, but it is a possibility. But I don't think he'll make masses of changes. It'd be nice to see possibly Angus start and give Icky a rest. I think his form's dropped off a little bit the last couple of games, so I think that's an option. It's a possibility. Just give him a rest. He's played virtually every game, hasn't he, Icky? But other than that, keep it as similar as you can, really. I don't see the point in making masses of changes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a change. You would assume Woody come in for Matic. I think Matic and Woody are very similar in terms of that's how often Woody likes to play him. I don't think Matic might be wrong, and I'm sure Matic would want to. I'm not sure playing Saturday Tuesday is the best thing for Joe Matic at this point, and Woody's come out. So it'd be interesting to see if Angus does play. I don't think we'll see Angus just because he'll play Icky and Harden, unless he wants to rest Harden. We know how many minutes Icky and Harden have played, don't we, this season? Not a lot. So that'd be the only change I can see, really. If we're going to rest Freddie, or if Freddie has taken a knock, for me, it's going to be JJ. You've got to bring JJ back. And I feel really sorry for JJ because he scored against Wimbledon and he's not played since. And that's not his fault. It's because Freddie's come in and been amazing, Danny. But I would be frustrated in a good way because I want to play. But if I'm JJ, I'm desperate to get minutes. And if Kelly comes in front of me, I would not be very happy.
Yeah, very true. But for JJ as well, he definitely understands the job that's on. He understands that he gets his chance when effectively his name's written on the board, doesn't he? But if I were JJ, I'd be eyeing up a really strong performance against Hartlepool now. Yeah. Because he knows when it comes to the crunch games, we will play with the stronger 2 attackers. And for me, in his position, I'd be going, right, I need to play a blinder against Hartlepool and keep pushing us on. And yeah, he's a smart lad. He understands the situation, and he knows that when the shirt falls his way, he knows he's going to effectively give it both barrels into like he did against Wimbledon. I've just made a little note of a potential starting 11 for Tuesday, so I just want to hear your thoughts and the comments' thoughts on it. So Vickers in goal, obviously. Harding, Wood, and McDonald's as your back 3. Ogbeni and Tutu as your wing backs. And switch from a City midfielder to an attacking midfielder. So you've got Lindsay Wiles and then Rathbone ever so slightly in front, so he can run that centre channel behind the strikers, and then potentially Smith and Kelly up front for me. So you get it to Rathbone, he then puts it out wide, bring it into the big men in front, bang, 1-0, easy.
I like style. I think Matt, right. I think Angus Icky's played a lot of minutes, and the last 2 games. And again, I don't think Icky was bad on Saturday, but I don't think it was at his normal levels. So it may well be just his time out of the team. And we'd all love to see Angus play. We'd all love to see Angus get a start. Mick, thoughts on that?
That's my final team, mate. 100%. That's where I'm going.
You're not putting a Duffin in?
I think Danny's got that absolutely right. Say again?
You're not putting a Duffin in?
No. I think that's possibly one too many changes there. I may not mess about with the midfield as much as Danny did there. I might keep Barlasser in there, but I don't know. I think he's got that just about right, Danny.
Yeah, I would personally bring a Duffin in for Barlasser, just to give Barlasser a bit of rest and to mix it up. Opposition, I'm not be expecting Barlasser not to play. So whatever you do, if you don't play Barlasser, it's going to throw a spanner in their works. I also definitely agree with 2-2 getting a start as well. Again, Fergie was a bit like Icky, not terrible, not a bad performance, but not quite at his levels. So I wonder if he needs a bit of time out.
I think whilst Miller's still on the recovery, I mean, he's out of the medical room now, but whilst he's still working his way back in, I'd stick with playing 2-2 as your fast winger on the left-hand side, because he can still do the job there, can't he? But in terms of running the channels, I think Ferguson is struggling just a little bit, in the same regard that with Icky, he's played a lot of minutes and he just needs a little bit of a rest. But whilst Miller's out, we've not really had that outlet, but now we've got 2-2 potentially,
Yeah. Jeremy agrees with you. I think Angus should start being really bright when he's been playing. I think Danny has been bang on with that mix it up a few could turn to positive. Donna is also with you, Danny. Danny, bang on, but she'd swap Smithy for Freddie in your lineup because Smithy does need a rest. Yeah, probably Smithy does need a rest, but Smithy will get a rest next week. There'll be no, he'll be on bench against Hartlepool, you'd have thought, at best. So there is a rest coming up for him, is maybe what I'd think. Donna has also a challenge for us as well. Donna is she's leaving us at 9 because Peaky Blinders is on. She's going to open up the score prediction sign for us all to win. Ben's not here, obviously. So she needs our score prediction and the first goal and what and I'm not well. I can't read. And what minute the first goal will be in. I would like to point out that me and Mick got the score prediction right for Saturday, but Mick said Freddie would score, so I win that one. So, Danny, do you want to start us off? What do you think Tuesday's result will be?
I think it'll be another grinding out of a win. To be fair, I don't think we're going to batter Shrewsbury at all. If we do make some numerous changes, I think anywhere more than 5, I think we'll probably disrupt it, because it's not a EFL Trophy fixture. We don't want to make more than 6 changes at all, because then your disruption kicks in. So I'm going to say 1-0, probably Wood to score. Wood to score 73 minutes.
Okay, it's about time we start scoring some late goals, to be fair, wasn't it? It's been a little while. I'm going to be confident. I'm going to say 3-0 with the first goal on the 12th minute. I'm not going to look at the scores 3-0.
Can you imagine if Georgie Kelly scores in the 12th minute? That'd be exceptional.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah. Michael.
I'm going to go 2-0. I think it's going to be 2-0 to Millers. I think we will score in the first half. Who do I think is going to score? I don't know. No idea. Smithy on 23. 2-0 Millers.
23. Do I need to pick a scorer? Because I didn't pick a first goal scorer. Is that what I need to do as well? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll go Smithy to get the record, take him on to take it past Alfie. Everybody thinks it's going to be 1-1. Josh Fletcher, Wood hat-trick 3-0. Brilliant. Steve Cooper 1-0. Steve Gundy 2-1. Donna thinks it's going to be 1-0. And Carl Briggs thinks it's going to be 2-0 as well. Yeah. Our with we talked about this. This was why I thought we'd win 1-0 on Saturday. Why I used to 2-0, Danny. Why I mixed it 1-0. Our away form's just ridiculous, and it's the important time of the season. Things have started stepping up in terms of performance. Tip Top's gone join with us. Tip Top 2-1 to the Millers. Smith on 19 minutes. Paul Brock says 1-0. Scott Grundy says 2. On slightly other topics, Cheryl Stone is asking the question: when will it be confirmed that we are not or are playing Sunderland because it's the international weekend? That is, well, that game is scheduled, if everybody's interested, scheduled for the 26th of March. So it's normally around 2 weeks before the international lineups get announced. If you want my money, that game will not go ahead on the date scheduled. But with how little time there is left after, the EFL might, be more encouraging to people to play the games. Don't know. Let's wait and see on that one. It's also the end of the month, which is also worth pointing out that we could have another Player and Manager of the Month award coming to the club. As we mentioned, we've got an incredible record this month. I can't see anybody in the league having a better team record, so Paul Warne should win Manager of the Month. If you had to pick a nomination, Danny, let's play this game. If you had to pick a nomination for a Rotherham player to go into the 4 nominees for Player of the Month, which one this month would get in?
Well, I can tell you now, I hope Warney doesn't win it, because knowing our luck, we'd get the curse of the Manager of the Month award. So I hope Liam Richardson wins it, to be honest. But players that get nominated, bloody hell. We've had Smith win it and we've had Barlas win it, so they're not going to win it again due to
no more Jordans.
No, due to the EFL also trying to be impartial. Maybe Rathbone, maybe chuck him in, give him a go.
This is a great shout by 2 people in the comments. Josh Fletcher says Vickers. Andy Hunt says Vickers.
Hey, that's a shout, Yeah,
that is a great shout, because not only the pick, but he had the penalty save against Accrington, which was this month. Mm-hmm. This month, in February, he's conceded
once.
Yeah.
Vickers wins it hands down. Then, unless someone scored 14 goals this month, Vickers wins it easy.
Yeah, it's got to be Josh Vickers. I bet you he won't be nominated, Mick, but Vickers should be up for that nomination because he has been superb. He is a huge reason why we've picked up so many points.
Yeah, absolutely, and he'd be fully deserving of it as well. I'd throw in Freddie. The way that these things go, they're like, if you score a goal, you're man at match, aren't you? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Freddie scored some crucial goals this month and some cracking goals as well, particularly that one the other night. So, but Josh Vickers, for me, you're absolutely right. He's been our Player of the Month. Ridiculous, really, isn't it? We're top of league, 9 points clear and everything else, and we're saying goalie's been Player of the Month. But he's an absolute vital cog in this wheel at the moment. He's been brilliant, absolutely outstanding. 3rd choice last year in Championship.
I know, crazy. And I know that sometimes we get people from Sky Sports listening. We're doing their prep for games and whatnot. So if anybody's listening from Sky Sports or the EFL,
hello,
Josh Vickers deserves at least to be nominated. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure he won't be. I think we're done. We've kept it within the hour. Is there any other topics, comments, queries that we want to cover? We can go over the hour if we want to. There's no limit.
Anything from you, Mick?
Nah, nothing from me. I missed the game yesterday, unfortunately. I had to listen to it on radio, which was a bit poor.
Yeah, but that means you got to listen to a certain somebody on the radio as well before kick-off, didn't you?
Yeah, come on, let's not let's not push it then, Matt. Come on, you know what I mean?
What are you saying? I've got fans in Midfield. That was a great piece from Matt on Radio D-Dar. There you go. Come on, Mick. Come on.
Listen, I accept that it was a really, really good little section from you there. But I don't mess about with Radio D-Dar anymore now. I'm obviously on national radio on 5 Live. I'm on their phone, their list for the Rotherham United call. So anyway, you enjoy your local radio, your Tin Pot local radio, mate.
He says, acting like he's doing a phone-in on Radio Doodah when he's passing with the praise or grumble from him.
Mine is Mick and it's a grumble, obviously. You know.
But yeah, what I will say is that everyone who wants to go and watch Peaky Blinders Series 6, it's starting. So your best Scarpa, we're going to see our views plummet now. But one thing I will say is, like, you've got these two on here going on your local and your national radio, and then there's me that's done BBC Young Voices, and I haven't heard anything yet. So I've either fallen at first hurdle, or the light actually is quite good, but it's probably first option. But yeah, the last bit from me isn't Rotherham United related, so that's why I'm saying it. When everyone's gone to watch BBC 1 or 2 or whatever Peaky Blinders is on. And it's FIFA have reached a decision on what's happening with Russia.
Honestly, mate.
And they've said that for the World Cup playoffs, Russia's going to compete as RFU. There's going to be no Russian fans allowed, no Russian flag, no Russian national anthem, and they have to play at neutral venues in Europe, so they can't play in Moscow. But they've not gone as far to ban them yet, which is like, I think that might be down to the FIFA president winning the Peace Award for the 2018 World Cup. And if you've watched the documentary from Al Jazeera, they're all corrupt. They're all canoodling with each other. But at least they've taken a strong stance, but not the strongest stance on it. And yeah, last thing from me, for anybody who wants to know this, my dad was in Peaky Blinders back in the early seasons.
Was he really?
Yeah. He was... in the first season where they're all running up the terrace street, it was one of the coppers running down there. And then at the end of series 2, it was the waiter that Cillian Murphy takes the 2 glasses off and hands to Ada. So if you want to go back and rewatch it at some point, that fella with the who's the waiter, that's my dad. There you
go. Brilliant. You bring up the Ukraine thing. I think it's important to mention how football and sport have come together to support Ukraine, and we know it's a terrible situation, and we are. What we can do is thoughts and prayers. We can't do anything else. But obviously, we support Ukraine and I support everything that all these clubs and everything have done. Everything helps, I suppose, to put pressure on that person.
Yeah. Have you seen me sign?
I saw you sign, Danny. If anybody's not seen the vlog, go watch Danny's sign.
Or you can see it if anyone's watching.
Any kids watching, don't read that. I watched the vlog earlier, Danny, and I watched the week little girls on set. I was watching it and I said, "Do not read that." So it's a swear, I really don't know. It's also what I want to mention that I think the Ukrainian people have been amazing. It's worth. These bring out stories, and the resilience of these guys over there, those defending their country, has just been beautiful to see. Honestly, I think it's amazing. And I can't add much else. Slavia, Ukraine, as they say. Michael, thank you for joining us tonight from the car park in Wales. We'll give them a plug. They can sponsor us, couldn't they, I suppose?
Yeah. We'll see if we can get a sponsor from. I've even got my Manscaped t-shirt on tonight as well.
That's no good, is
it? Now I'm not on camera.
Brilliant. If you haven't already, go watch Danny's vlog, because again, it's brilliant. These away days are amazing. It's great atmosphere, and I really enjoyed your 3:30 in the morning intro, Danny. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, mate, our groggy is out. I still can't believe I missed the tea bag from the cup. I was so annoyed with myself. But the one bit I actually regret not filming was the bus on the way back, because that bus we sort of hit Birmingham, and then everyone sort of woke up afterwards, and the bus was absolutely bouncing. It was fantastic, and I'm telling you, it wasn't the suspension; it was the atmosphere. Because one of my mates, Craig, he just kept going down the bus, going, "We've got a Benny," and every time it just kept ticking over and ticking over. It was fantastic. So thank you to everybody who travelled with Kimmy Park on that day. I've seen a few messages that they really enjoyed it. So thanks very much for coming. Hope to see you for Shrewsbury.
Absolutely. If you haven't already, like to watch it, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, because we appreciate that. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere else. If you're an audio listener, please subscribe to iTunes and Spotify. And if you give us a 5-star rating, we would very much appreciate that as well. As we say, we'll be back on Thursday evening live on YouTube, Friday morning for the podcast to review Shrewsbury and look ahead to the next big game of the season against MK Dons. Danny's vlog will be out Wednesday, Thursday morning time, so keep an eye out for that as well. This will all be on our socials as and when it's all out. As we always mentioned, thank you all. We do appreciate you all joining us live and all who joined us through the audio as well. We do very much appreciate it. And yeah, Mick, Danny, it's been a real pleasure, and we'll see you all next time.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Freddy's on one-on-one. The Freddy turning shoot. Can they go shot? Yeah!